People of the world, what's up?
Oh, hey.
Oh, you caught us. We were just having a conversation about photoshopping or Canva-ing. Now, what is the difference?
Canva is for people who don't use Photoshop and are not good at, it's the Tyro version of Photoshop. You create your own images, you can make video clips, but it's very, very basic. You can still do some fun stuff with it.
The GoBots. It's the GoBots of
yes,
of software.
That's it, exactly.
All right. This is water, by the way. I didn't start at before noon with beer. People
can you
of
hear?
The world.
Hello, Owen.
Hi, Owen.
Mark, can you hear Jennifer? I share a wall, so the wall behind me is also one of the walls of Jennifer's office. We share a wall, and she left her phone in there. She is showering, and her alarm is going off. Can you hear it?
I cannot hear it.
Okay,
hi,
just
everybody
me
that's
Great.
saying hello in the comments. I hope your
hello,
kettle
everybody.
boils soon, Kate McManus.
Hi. Just to run you through what this is, because I feel like there's always a little confusion. Maybe people who are new to Town Hall, although there aren't many of us here, so I'm assuming you all know how it works. But for anybody watching this video in the future and planning to attend a Town Hall, this is not a clean slate. We're not going to settle any topics. We're just here to chat. If you have questions for us or questions about the show or feedback about episodes, this is your chance. If you listen and yell at us or agree with us, this is your chance to actually interact with us about it. And we'll respond to you as if you were in the room with us, even though you're not. We're not even in the same room.
Hail and well met. Hail and well met. God ye good den, Leslie, as well. Fox Girls, what's up? Cheers to everybody. So you went to Malibu this morning while we're just shooting the breeze, Hal.
Yes. The Malibu Creek State Park, or hiking. Jeff and I went on a hike. And so I'm still, I just got home, came upstairs and logged on. I was 2 minutes late for our call time.
Yeah.
And
which I'm always 2 minutes late for. So.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's something. Yeah. This is, let's before we get into that. Shelly Godifrin says she's currently planning her California trip in January to Disneyland and a weekend in LA. I assume it's a one-day trip to Disneyland. Any tips? Mark, yes. I know I have tips, but you're the professional. You're literally a Disney professional.
I'm a Disney professional. I would say if you are a fan that is interested in riding every ride or doing as much as possible, get there at the rope drop in the morning and either hit Peter Pan's Flight, because there's no other way to do it aside from just standing in line. And also Rise of the Resistance. Those are the ones that are going to get the crazy longest lines first thing in the morning. And also, you can just knock out a bunch of stuff early. I know it's weird if you're wanting to have a long day where you plan this big thing and give each thing enough time and experience it fully to not just be running around. But if you want to see as much as possible, get there at rope drop in the morning and just run around for a little while and knock a few of the big ones off your list. Middle of the afternoon, take a little break when it's at its hottest. And this is in January. Week in Disneyland. Oh, a week at Disneyland? Take your time. That's my best advice. Take your time. My gosh. Enjoy. See everything. Relax. If you want to ride stuff that has long lines, do that early in the morning. But otherwise, just have fun. I wish Rogers was still playing. I thoroughly enjoyed
did it
Rogers.
Close?
It closes the end of August.
Why? What's going there?
Frozen? I don't know.
Frozen again?
I don't know if they're putting something back in there. I have my own tips. Leslie says get tacos. Definitely get tacos in Los Angeles. Oh, we should do a little for Shelly. Let's do a few of our favorite restaurant spots. Grab a pen and paper, or you're sitting at your computer, just type it into notes. Back and forth. Hal, favorite restaurants in LA or must-dos for somebody in from out of town?
I think
for a weekend for LA.
Kind of depends on where you're going to be, but oh man, What is my favorite restaurant? I feel like I like Genghis Cohen, but they switched owners
Yeah.
years ago, so it's not as good, and I think it might be closed now.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say for my favorite spot, I like Casa Vega in Sherman Oaks. It's a classic, old school. I like my favorite are my local neighborhood spots, which is Mucho Mas and Don Cuco's. Don
Uh-huh.
Cuco, if you're in either Glendale or Burbank, is the most fun, old school LA Mexican food.
Pink's is
It's,
kind of like a tradition to go wait in line
sure.
for one
Go
of the.
wait in line at Pink's. Sushi. The sushi is great here. Go to Sugarfish. Um,
Yeah, sushi.
I
I mean,
think,
you can go to a lot of different sushi places. I'm trying to
yeah,
think of. It really kind of depends. I like if LA's got a ton of great food. I don't think of it as an eating town though. I think of it as sort of like you go to see like show business stuff, and then the Santa Monica Promenade, if you've never been, is worth seeing on the west side, and you have the
yeah.
Venice Boardwalk just south of that. If you really enjoy walking, which you're in Chicago, I assume you're used to a little city walking. Here it's more sprawled out, so you can't. It's not as easily navigable on foot, but that area you can. Um,
I
Gosh,
disagree. I will disagree about this
you
not
think?
being an eating town. I think LA is very much an eating town,
Well,
food
I think they
town.
have. Let me. I'm not saying there's bad food. I'm saying I don't come when I think of Los Angeles. I don't. The first thing I and somebody's coming in. My first thing isn't you have to go to this restaurant.
Well, my
It's you
first,
have to go see this
yeah,
thing.
I guess that's true. But I'm of the like thought that if I'm going to a city, I want to know what the best foods are in that city. And I would say that in Los Angeles, tell me if you would agree with this or not. At
Okay.
least the cuisines that are probably best to try while you're here in town. Because I know when I travel overseas or just around the country, when I come back to LA, the first three things I always eat are a great artisanal burger from one of the cool burger places,
Hmm.
and then Mexican food and sushi. Those are the three I think as cuisines in Los Angeles go. We have great
Yeah.
Chinese food. We have a lot of great ethnic food, but
With great
sushi
Chinese
and
food
Mexican.
comes great responsibility.
That's true.
That's what Aunt May and Uncle Ben taught us.
That's right.
I guess you do food wise, and you. I know you want like tourist stuff. We'll give you that in a
Yeah,
second.
kitschy tourist stuff.
You have to go to In-N-Out Burger. I think that's the most
Oh yeah.
quintessentially Los Angeles thing. I think the fries are terrible. I don't think you need the fries,
No,
but the
you're
burgers are
right that the
good.
fries are garbage there.
I think the burgers are good, and I think that it's worth going because it's sort of a Southern California institution, and I'm sure you've heard people from LA talk about it exhaustively, like
Yeah.
just exhaustively, just talking about it. I think it's fine. You could, if you're really a burger person, you want to compare two different chains, you could do In and Out and then do Fat Burger, because Fat Burger is like the if In and Out is like the cousin who shows up to Thanksgiving wearing a sweater vest over a shirt and tie,
Yeah.
then
Fat Burger brought all the kids lottery cards and firecrackers.
yeah, and showed up in like Tivas and
Yeah.
sweat shorts and a like a tank top that's tie dyed.
Yeah, but for the vegetarians and vegans, Fat Burger was the first one to really lean all into Beyond and Impossible a decade before everyone else
Right.
was in LA.
Yeah,
If you want a fancy burger in LA, go to Umami. They top it with a Parmesan wheel, like
That's
a
good.
Parmesan crisp, homemade ketchup, like sauteed mushrooms. It's delightful and wonderful. But kitschy tourist stuff in LA.
Apple Pan.
What? Oh, Apple Pan.
Apple Pan's a very famous West Side burger place where they
Yeah.
will not change. You order it, and that's what they give you. You can't say, "Can I have this on the side?" You
No,
cannot.
you can't.
Tourist stuff.
Tourist
Hollywood
stuff.
Boulevard.
Go to see
Well,
Hollywood Boulevard.
You have to do the Walk of Fame.
Go to Universal Studios. If you
Yeah.
have, it's a theme park, but if you have a day, at least go and just drive around where all the studios are.
You know,
Go
honestly,
honk at the actors who might still
Yeah.
be striking in January when you come.
yeah. We hope not. But also, the Warner Brothers Studio Tour is really cool.
Lot of fun.
The Universal Studio Tour is neat because you're actually in the studio, so you're actually driving through Hill Valley and Stars Hollow is Warner Brothers.
You're going
but
through Hill Valley. You're going through
The Good Place.
The Good Place, which is also where they shot all of the old Universal horror movies. They're just,
Yes.
instead of painted gray, they're painted bright colors now.
And it's also near whatever the Murder She Wrote town is supposed to
Murder
be.
She Wrote, Amity,
Yeah, the Psycho House, like
all that stuff. Yeah,
all that stuff is there, so you actually get to see it.
one kitschy fun thing to do in LA too is if you get a map of famous movie houses, those are a lot of fun. I drove past the Toretto house yesterday,
Oh,
which made me very delighted.
where is that?
Echo Park.
Okay.
Yeah, the Toretto house
Sure.
is on the east side. I would say see the mountains, see the beach. Venice Beach for kitschy, cool tourist stuff. Take a walk down Venice Beach. You'll see the rollerblading guitarist and the lady with the snake around her neck and all the like fun, silly, great tourist things. Muscle Beach, like all of that stuff.
If you're up at the Walk of Fame, you're going to be near. You're going to be. You started Hollywood and Highland, which is where they hold the Oscars, so you can walk through their sort of Oscar thing. You're also right in the same complex is Grauman's, now Mann's, now whoever's Chinese theater that has all of the imprints, and you get to see all of the super sweaty people because it's hot out there, like dressed up as different pop culture figures that you take pictures with. And they do not wash their costumes as much as they should. You'll know that
they do not.
when you get close to them. They will not let you take a picture, even a selfie, anything. You have to pay for anything.
And congratulations on getting out of Chicago during the middle of winter. Definitely go to the beach. I want to throw one more in for this question, but you sounded like you had one more thing to throw in there, Hal, though.
I was going to say, assuming if the strike is over and all the talk shows are back up, when you are at Universal, I would go to City Walk specifically because there are always people there who are looking to get audience members for shows. If you've never sat in the audience for a talk show or a sitcom, the talk shows are fun because they're done much quicker. Sitcoms, you could be there for
5 or 6
8, 9 hours. 8 or 9 hours if they're really bad. Yeah, Griffith Observatory, also very good.
I'll give you my favorite spot in Los Angeles. This has frequently been my thinking spot. It has been just a place that I enjoy visiting that nobody really knows about. But it's, if you go up Lankershim Boulevard in Studio City, Universal, North Hollywood, there is the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And there's a big, beautiful, open to the public courtyard out in front of the Television Academy. And there's a giant statue of an Emmy. But additionally, all around it are little busts and full statues, but they're never, more than that big, of all of the television greats. So there is a statue of Carol Burnett, a statue of James Garner from Maverick. Like there's all of any major star that's been in the Television Hall of Fame. There's a little bust or a little statue of them there, and some of them are full-size statues, and the ones that get the full-size or even larger than life-size bronze statues are Johnny Carson, Lucy and Desi, and Archie and Edith Bunker. So that's one of my favorite places in LA.
Hey, I have one more.
We could do this. This all day. Yeah.
If you're a museum person, I have 3 recommendations for you very quickly. Yes. One is the Museum of Western Heritage, which is in Griffith Park. So if you're going to hit the observatory, it's down at the bottom, and that's really cool. That was, I think, started by Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. I think they may have founded that. It's the Gene Autry Museum.
The Autry Museum.
Autry Museum. They have really good installations. Temporary installations, but then they also have it's a really cool look at sort of the Western and how it evolved over time. And obviously, when you're Gene Autry, you can get a lot of great artifacts to look at. The second is a twofer. It's actually a threefer. In one area, you have LACMA, which is the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. You have the La Brea Tar Pits, and most importantly, is the Motion Picture Academy Museum, which is
new.
Spectacular. It's new. It's spectacular. I've been there a couple times. It's worth checking to see if there's a special event. I got to see Ben Burt give a talk a while back, which was fascinating. And it's a really impressive museum. And if you love movies and you love the Academy Awards, and it's fascinating. And there's a lot more attention given to people of color and women, like all
Yeah.
these traditionally marginalized groups, and their contributions to film are featured in a much more equitable fashion than you would imagine, given the history of the Academy as a whole.
Yeah. It's a great museum. One thing I loved about it too is that all of the things that you see as enticements to come to the museum
Mhm.
are all delivered to you kind of as dessert at the end, which was one thing I loved. Like you go through and they're like, first we are going to teach you the history of the movies, what cinematography, like you go through, it's a really in-depth museum. And then after you have metaphorically eaten all your vegetables, there's the final room where they're like, and here's C-3PO, here's Hal from, or here's the spaceship from
The lander.
the lander, yeah, from 2001. Here's Harry and the Hendersons. Here, like all like that room, it just opens up into this giant toy box of cinema history. That's a lot of fun. But leading up to it is an even more impressive feat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you for your support.
Solidarity to everyone on strike from across the pond. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we aren't the first unions to strike, and we will not be the last. But hopefully, each time you hope that the move towards equity takes a step forward.
Yeah.
And that this is a blueprint for other unions that are in the same spot, because there are a lot of fantastic unions that do really important work, like teachers unions.
Yeah,
that
and that is a great thing I didn't know. Griffith Observatory just voted to unionize with equity. It makes sense. There is a live stage show inside Griffith Observatory with actors on mic or performers on mic doing an infotainment show that's really, really fun. So, yeah. Can we talk about awesome museums now?
Oh,
Institutes. Yeah. I'll tell you the best. We might have talked about this on the show. We've never done a best Smithsonian episode. That'd be cool. I love the Smithsonian American History Museum, but the best food court I've ever been in is the food court in the Smithsonian Native American Museum. It's divided up by region with native dishes throughout. It's amazing, the food in there.
What are some of your other favorite museums that you've been to around the world? Or maybe one. How about this? Why don't you talk about we can both talk about great museums where we grew up, because you had some museums in your area or museums you went to as a kid that left an impression with you. What were they?
I'll give you a museum from where I grew up and a museum from around the world, because when you mentioned that, one popped into my head. We'll do one local, one Anthony Bourdain, one Jonathan Gold, if you will.
Okay.
So I would say for me, local, one great local museum where I grew up is they're all just touristy Gatlinburg museums, and I love them. But the one that pops into my mind is the Dolly Parton Museum that is inside Dollywood.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I have a little bit of high culture in me, but that's not what we're here to talk about right now. We're here to talk about Dolly Parton and the fact that her museum houses just down the way in Dollywood a replica of the house that she grew up in, the little shack that she grew up in. And then to see Dolly's rise and all these artifacts from her life and her story, it's very inspiring, and her imagination library and all of that is great. Hal, obviously, your hometown is famous for its museums.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. I'll give you a few of my favorites. One, obviously, is the art museum. It's a world-class art museum, maybe most famous to the world for its long high steps, up which Rocky ran.
Who ran up those steps? Yeah,
little guy named Rocky Balboa. The statue, which was outside of the Spectrum, the sports arena, when I was a kid, and then that's where it is in Rocky 3 when he throws his helmet at it. It's out in front of the Spectrum. But they have since moved it to, if you're facing those stairs, it's around to the right. So you can do the steps, take the picture, and then come down and take a picture with the Rocky statue, which was made for the movie, but obviously it's an icon. That area has a couple of other great museums. I'll give you two more. The Natural History Museum is great too. Yeah. All right. But one is the Franklin Institute, which is dedicated to science and weird stuff, just like Ben Franklin was.
Sure.
It is a fantastic
And the silence,
museum.
they have the silence do good letters, which if you
They have the
can
silence,
figure out the
yeah.
code, you can know that when the light passes in front of Pass and Stowe, that you'll be able to find the Declaration.
Yeah, that's where you find that fake brick in
Yeah.
Independence Hall. But it is a fantastic interactive museum. It's a lot of fun for both adults and children. And if you really want to take kids to like a fun museum that is just for them, there's a Please Touch museum, which is the opposite of every museum you go to. Like, you're supposed to play and mess around with everything. This hat is Leslie, by the way, is a Sixers hat,
Nice.
of course, because I didn't wear the big floppy hat that I wore out. Now around the world,
Yeah.
I'll give you 2.
Okay.
I have more, but should we?
Sure.
Well,
I have
all
a
right.
million around the world museums.
Center for Puppetry Arts outside of Atlanta is fantastic.
Yeah.
The Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. is probably, I mean, for me, it is maybe the most important museum in the country, and is something that everybody should visit just to understand. It's really hard to grasp the scope of the Holocaust, and not just for Jewish people, but for everybody who was targeted and killed and forced into camps. So it is it's just that is a very important museum. On the fun side, one of the greatest museum experiences I ever had was at the Museum of the Moving Image in London.
Yeah.
And there is one in Queens out here in the States as well. They're both fantastic. If you love television and film, it is an absolute must. You have to go to. I would go to both of them because they're different from one another.
Yeah. I would argue world museums, my top contenders. A lot of the top contenders are turning out to be pretty problematic in the way that they got all of their art and artifacts. Hopefully, they're making some restitution for that. But I am a big fan of the Louvre, the Met, Louvre in Paris, the Met in New York. In Paris also. The Orangerie, the Orsay Museum as an art museum in Paris is my absolute favorite. I know there's other bigger, the Louvre is bigger, but the Orsay is spectacular. Victoria and Albert. Kate McManus has some opinions. A librarian with opinions about museums.
Yeah.
Go on. But globally, a super weird one that I loved was in Amsterdam, and it is called the Museum of Pylons. And the museum... It's called the Museum of Pylons, but that's really just sort of your entry point into a history of the city of Amsterdam and how it was built. It was a manufactured city built on these pylons, and it's all sort of about the infrastructure of creating a city from scratch. And it's in a building about the size of one of those Amsterdam houses. It's like 3 floors with the the storage on the top and the little hooks. Like those houses, it's the size of one of those.
Right.
And I was the only person going through, at least in each room that I was in. And it is high tech. It's fascinating. It's wild. You learn so much about the city. It's just one of those cool, weird museums that was a heck of a lot of fun. I've never been to the Mutter Museum.
The Mutter Museum is like medical oddities, also in Philadelphia, and the Mummer Museum also in there. Mummer and Mutter, you can do them both.
I thought we were just being given a task. So here goes.
British Museum of War is really good. I think that's the name of it. But all right, here's just one more, and then we'll leave the world of museums.
We really need to do a best museum episode after. Now this is getting me excited.
What is one museum that you really want to go to that you've never been to?
Can I just point out, I just found a Teddy Graham in this chair, and I don't remember how long ago I was eating Teddy Graham.
What does it smell like? Smell like a butt?
My butt. I was sitting on it. It smells like my butt.
Throw it away.
A butt. I don't know who else was sitting here. What were you about to say? One museum you want to go to?
It was that guy from the Teddy Grahams. He was re-recording the song. Oh, let me eat my Teddy Grahams. I said, what is one museum that you've always wanted to visit but haven't been to yet?
I'll give you 2.
Okay.
They're in close succession and close proximity. I would love to go to the Cairo Museum. Because it also means I would be going to Cairo. And I would love to go. It bounces back and forth between a church and a mosque and a museum. It was most recently a museum. It's back to being a mosque. It might be a museum again soon, but I would love to go to Hagia Sophia in Istanbul.
Okay.
What about you?
All right. I'll give you 3.
Okay.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, it's great.
Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But my number 1 is the Baseball Hall of Fame. I've never been, and I really want to go. And they're also
Baseball.
see, Leslie.
So Leslie says
Leslie
baseball.
knows.
And you saw the Terracotta Warriors? They have that at the Franklin Institute.
They get all sorts of great exhibits. They get amazing things coming
It feels
through there.
like anyone that goes on tour as a musician has to play Madison Square Garden. Any exhibit that goes on tour has to play the Franklin Institute.
Yeah. And by the way, another great one in
Museum of Illusion
in Tennessee, another great Tennessee, but in Nashville is the Country Music Hall of Fame. It's a fantastic
it's
museum.
So fun.
They really did a great job with that.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I really want to do a museum episode now.
Do we have anything? Oh yeah, the Negro Leagues Museum in Kansas City, also great. Negro Leagues are incredible. There's a really great documentary that just came out about those leagues and how they were formed. And oh my god, now I'm forgetting the name of the main guy who got them started. Who like basically he died, like he developed dementia at a younger age and like thought that the Yankees were going to call him to come and play. And so he died. He had a tragic end, but he also helped
way to keep it light.
Way
to keep it light, Hal, for the
yeah. Oh, and the Franklin Institute sleepover, by the way, that Emily's talking about, that was a standard Philadelphia thing. Your school, your class would go and do a sleepover. Yeah,
did it
at least once. Yeah, absolutely.
Did the stuff come to life?
Hmm. Yeah.
We go to Cooperstown, go to Stop in Oneonta, and go to Brooks Barbecue. All right.
Forget that. Stop in Syracuse. Go up to Syracuse and go to Dinosaur Barbecue.
Wait, is the Dinosaur Barbecue in Syracuse the same Dinosaur Barbecue that's in Brooklyn?
Yes, it is their second. The Brooklyn is their second location.
Gotcha.
For some weird
Birdsy's from 10 minutes away from the Basketball Hall of. Where's the Basketball Hall of Fame?
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Makes sense. That's where it was. Was that the inventor's town?
It's where the YMCA was, where it was invented by James Naismith, who was Canadian, I believe.
Yeah, and also one of the monkeys.
That's right. He was the one with the woolen cap. All right, let's talk about something else. What
else is on your minds, folks?
Yeah. What's going on? Episode. Any feedback for a recent episode? Stuff you like, stuff you want more of? I'm curious what people want more of in episodes.
Yeah, me too.
In terms of content. I'll ask a question and see who answers it. This is a relatively small sample size. Syracuse is always in the wrong direction. I know. I spent 4 years there.
This is but this is a good sample size for us because this is these. Look, if we are the Supreme Court of dumb, as you have referred to, we got this before. This group today might be all of the appellate judges.
Yes.
Appellate. Have you gotten to any baseball games this summer? I had the best time at a baseball game just last night. I know that the Dodgers are my team. I love me some Los Angeles Dodgers. I always will. But there are other teams I love as well, and they're not always in the major leagues. The Dodgers have a farm team, the AAA minor league team called the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes that play in a tiny little stadium, AAA stadium, and for very cheap, if you get a bunch of buddies together, you can go and rent the suite SWEET next to the broadcast booth, and they just fill it up with food, and the whole thing cost each of us like $25, and we ate like kings and enjoyed a baseball game, and the Quakes won, and it was an absolute blast. And I'm still I've not eaten much today because I'm still letting all of the chicken strips and hot dogs and pizza. They were out of pepperoni, so the woman was like, she's like, I'll just chop up a bratwurst and put it on there if you want. And we were like, heck yeah, bratwurst pizza. Who knew? What was the last ball game you got to?
I haven't been to a large sporting event since January of 2020. That is my answer.
That's fair.
But I do love minor league baseball. Mm-hmm. I love all baseball. Minor league baseball in particular is a really fun. It's fun to see. You might see a stars in a rehab assignment, but you also see maybe some future pro players. And it's just like, going to a baseball game generally is pretty relaxed, unless it is a high stakes game and you have a ton of real, you don't have to be a baseball fan to enjoy a baseball game because you just sit there and be like, oh, this is nice. I'm in the sun.
You're hanging out with your buddies eating nachos.
Yeah, you're not really paying attention to what's happening on the field. And in a minor league game, it's even more, I think the experience of being there is the most important thing. Savannah
Cade,
Bananas are a lot of fun.
they
Savannah
just came through
Bananas,
LA. I was so
yeah,
bummed I missed them.
if you don't know them, they are a touring team. They are also like they're basically like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. In
Yeah.
that it's all about the show of it. The rules are different to make it a faster game, and it's just they're all not only good athletes but really fun performers. Check them out on TikTok.
There is a former Savannah Banana who is now a starter for the Seattle Mariners, Cade Marlowe, and he hit a grand slam home run in the majors the other day. Lest you think these guys are just goofing around.
Yeah.
MLB makes it hard to watch. Yeah, they do. It's impossible to watch a game in California unless you have, or in LA, unless you have the Spectrum, a Spectrum account, the Spectrum Sports package, and specifically the Dodgers add-on. When they made that deal a few years ago, they eliminated over 70% of their viewing audience, which is a shame, and it's all just money.
I get their season pass. I get the season pass so I can watch Phillies games.
But you can't watch Dodgers games with the season pass that you have.
No, but I have local television, so I could watch it. But I also
it's not on local TV.
To be frank, I don't care about the Dodgers.
I know. So it's easy for you.
I could care less. Yes.
As a Dodgers fan, I'm the MLB app, which I bought one year to watch all of the games. I was so mad when I found out that they're like, "Oh no, you're blacked out in LA from watching LA games." But that, my friend, is what a router level VPN is for.
Well, and also I think Kate's referring to the rule changes. I mean, the bases are bigger, which is supposed to make it easier for more runs to be scored, make it a little bit more in favor of the base runners for stealing bases. I still see great like bang bang plays. Our catcher JT Realmuto can still get people, he still can pick people off pretty easily.
You don't like the new on-field interviews, Leslie says.
Yeah, they're always trying to evolve the game. I think the biggest change is the pitch clock.
Yeah.
You only have I think it's like 20 seconds to deliver a pitch. And I think it took a little while for them to get adjusted to it, but I haven't seen a ton of violations of it. It still feels like
I've seen that violations on both sides. It's not like it affects one more than the other. I saw a batter get a violation
because you have to get in the box
because he was outside the box for 20 seconds.
So a baseball player
show off.
I'd say the biggest thing is probably the bat flip on a home run.
Yeah,
that's
the Dodgers
really
a couple of years ago had this move, which was it started with Gavin Lux and Mookie Betts doing this back and forth. Now it's the hand move. There's always like some gesture. I'll show you my favorite. I don't know that this is a show-off move. I think he's just popping his hip so that he gets the full range of motion. But I'll show you what former Dodgers closer Kenley Jansen used to do before every pitch.
Okay.
And then he did this delightful little butt jaunt that became sort of his signature move. I don't know if it's trick shot, but it was great.
Yeah, there aren't as many
snowshoe baseball.
There aren't as many, I think, show-offs of baseball because the way the sport is made is like there are rules of conduct. Like they do bat flips, but you're not supposed to celebrate when you hit a home run. You're supposed to put your head down and circle the bases because otherwise, next time you're up, they're going to throw at your head.
Yeah,
like that's just the sort of unspoken rule of baseball. You don't show people up; you outplay them. That's your show-off.
I found out a sportsmanship rule about baseball that I didn't know, and I looked it up because my dad was curious about it. We were watching a baseball game, and he was like, I don't like the end of a baseball game. I think it's the only sport that's unsportsmanlike. I said, why is that? He said, well, you watch every other game, the players all go out and greet each other at the end. Even in high school sports, they all go past each other and do the high five, good game, good game, good game, good game. Mm-hmm. He's like, but they don't do that in baseball. And I think that's a shame, and I think that's unsportsmanlike. So I looked up why they don't do it in baseball.
And why is that?
It's illegal because of the 1919 White Sox scandal or Black Sox scandal.
There you go.
There you go. It's illegal for them to touch the other team in that way, as if to like you don't know, somebody could be high-fiving and pass a note. And then the next guy hands him a $50 bill, and he looks down and he's got a note and a $50 bill. Now he's beholden.
Yes,
What was the
Yeah,
last thing that I was rambling and didn't see what the last thing said?
That's fine. It's fine. They all have their little celebrations. Is the thing.
Oh, each team has its little celebrations.
Yeah.
I love that. What else we got? Bring it on, appellate judges of the people of the world. Well, if we don't have anything yet, I can bust open this new game that I just got, and I'll do the short version. You got to rank these 3 things in order, Hal. You ready?
Okay.
I'm going to give you 3 cards to rank in order.
Okay.
Your ranks are YouTube, credit cards, and living sustainably. Those are the 3 things you have to rank in order.
I'm going to go living sustainably first. That's the top thing.
You would.
Sorry, I love the planet, Mark, and I want it to be here long after I'm gone.
All right, then YouTube versus credit cards.
YouTube. Credit cards are an abomination and a curse, and they really are. They're different kind. I don't think we're taught enough about finance. I know I don't know a ton. I'm learning sort of as I go, but there are there's bad credit and there's good credit. Like a mortgage is good credit because you have an asset that will gain value over time. But credit card debt is generally bad credit. They're essentially loaning you money at a ridiculously high interest rate,
% or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're counting on enough people to not pay. Like we have cards, but we never carry a balance on them. I'll use it like I want to get miles for this. But I know it has to come out of our account. Yeah. And it's really easy. And I think they prey on people who will spend and spend and spend with it and then be stuck with this debt. I mean, I've fought my way out of significant credit card debt before. That's how I learned. And there are some people who never learn, and then they're in a really terrible position financially for a long time. So I think that they're bad.
I learned, and it took me a long time to learn, but I didn't have to do anything in my learning. I just had to wait. Because I racked up a big credit card bill when I was 18 from a freebie credit card that they gave me and it gave me a free T-shirt in college. And then I racked up money on this credit card, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like credit cards. I guess I just have to wait this one out." And I just waited it out, and my credit tanked, and it eventually disappeared from my credit. And then I worked really hard to get my credit back up, but I never actually paid that credit card off.
Yeah,
I just waited until it went away.
Well, there you go. That's the definitive ranking from me for those things. YouTube is great for entertainment.
Sure.
Also great to learn things. I've learned a ton of stuff.
I'll tell you a thing I learned on YouTube. I learned that airlines get most of their money from their credit cards. And that's the whole and from their frequent flyer programs.
Yeah, there are ways to do it. I mean, I've definitely gamed them some for miles. It used to be the world of frequent flying used to be way different. You could do what's called a mileage run. So on American, you would fly like, this was over the course of a weekend. You'd fly like LA to New York back to LA to Tokyo. Stay for like a couple hours, back to LA, back to New York. Like you would do that in a weekend and it would get you the highest status. And it would cost very little comparative to all the perks that you got. That doesn't exist anymore. You can't do it that way. But there's certainly people who understand. It's important to find people who Tori Dunlap is really good. There's the financial feminist, I think is her name. She's really good at just sort of educating people and taking them away from those the I can't remember the other guy. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't agree with him. It's a good question. Question from Fox Girls: have we ever thought about videoing our episodes and having like a video released? I think it'd be fun. The issue is we edit stuff.
Yeah,
we have a lot of pauses.
Yeah,
but I think
I spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We both do. I think it would be fun to video a live recording of an episode sometime, even knowing it's going to be cut down, just as a one-time thing. And
I'd like to, for the special episodes, I like to do that with. Okay, Hal, give me 3 numbers between 1 and 100.
77, 18, and 32.
Okay, 77, 18, and 32. That means you're ranking. Oh, wait, no, something besides 18. That was YouTube.
Oh, okay. 20.
All right.
1.
21.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Okay.
32, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Harry Potter, Donald Trump, and 77. Mankinis. What is a mankini?
Oh man, I don't
Is that just a guy in
I gotta be honest, I'm not so big on any of these. I like
Well,
Harry Potter, but
mankini has to be number one.
I think Harry Potter has been kind of stained by its creator.
Yeah.
But it's still a well-written series of books. I put that first, then I go mankinis because not really hurting anybody. They're just like, you might not want to see it, but so look the other way. If somebody wants to wear it.
Is a mankini a two-piece? Or is a
no
mankini
mankini's like the Speedo.
Like a Speedo. Oh, okay. I never heard that called a mankini. I thought a mankini would also be required to have a top part, which tiny little midriff shirt with my Speedo.
Yeah, it could also be the thing that Borat wears, like the Borat thing that's basically like a little bulge holder and then straps. So that would be two, and then I don't remember what the third one is. Next.
What Trivial Pursuit games should be added to Ken's horde for trivia nights? I am generally anti-specific Trivial Pursuit games. I like a general knowledge Trivial Pursuit game. I never play as much as I can avoid them. I never play the specific ones, because even as much as I think I know about a subject, those cards are all gatekeeper shibboleth cards for crazy super fans.
Yeah.
And hey, that sounds fun. Golden Girls trivia. Okay. Yeah. I know that show. I love that show. In episode 219, what kind of cake is Blanche eating? Oh, piss up a rope.
I'd like an MCU game. I think that would be fun. And Ken has, I'm not putting you on blast here, Mark. Ken has video game trivia questions that I really want to see what they are. Do you think maybe if there's time at the end, I just want to see what they're like.
When we wrap at 1:00, you and Ken go nuts.
You might know some of the answers.
Guarantee I will not. Unless the questions are name Pac-Man? One of the Pac-Man ghosts. They edit out Ken yelling at them. You want to edit in all of the Ken yelling at
Sure.
us?
Why not?
Fair enough.
Super
it mostly happens in the chat, and it's just aim for an ad break.
Yeah.
What is a book dragon?
Yeah, what's a book dragon?
Sarah, what is a book dragon?
Now we're gonna wait. Now we have to wait 90 seconds for the reply to come through.
Give me 3 more numbers.
Hey, wait, I got another. Here's a question. What video games you do play video games once in a while?
Yes.
What are you playing right now?
Eric and I stayed up late the other night playing Punch Out, but it's not Mike Tyson anymore. It's Mr. Dream. But we did pretty well.
For what? For what system? You have the miniature NES? He's got one of those Raspberry Pi things. What's he going to show me? Oh, yeah, you have the mini.
Yeah.
Very fun.
I'm also playing a delightful game called Wordle, where you get 6 chances to guess a 5-letter word.
Yeah.
And if I read the phrase, you have 6 chances to guess a 5-letter word, that means I forgot yesterday's Wordle. And I get real mad that I forgot to do Wordle.
I'm playing. Well, all right. We'll do this, then I'll answer that question because
I'm a book dragon.
You hoard books. It actually reads all the books. Yeah, I'm a book dragon as well.
I'm a book dragon, but with my Kindle, I'm a bookworm.
Yeah,
I have a shelf full of books that I don't read, and then I have a bunch of the same books in Kindle form, and have read all of them.
Yeah. The games I'm playing right now are MLB 23. Which Leslie says has a whole Negro Leagues DLC thing. It's actually built into the game. You don't have to download anything. It's actually built into it, which is really cool. I play NBA 2K23. I'm waiting for 24, which comes out in 2 weeks.
Do you follow the storyline and everything with it when you play?
With what? The baseball?
With NBA?
I create a player every time. Yeah. So, yes, you have to do the storyline stuff.
The storyline stuff is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's then I'm playing High on Life because it just came out for PlayStation, which is what I have, which is the game that I worked on. So it's kind of cool. And it's fun, good play. Fortnite. Ken and I play Fortnite a lot, and then I also, this is really weird. I got FIFA, the soccer game the FIFA 23, and it's like the first time, and I've played different versions of it probably for, I don't know, almost 30 years, maybe like 28 years. This is the first time I watched it. I was like, or played it. I was like, oh, I kind of get this. And now I've started watching MLS games. I'm like, oh, I don't know the sport that well, but I appreciate what's happening. So I'm able to follow it enough that it's really fun and exciting to see.
Is there a bird's eye view function in FIFA in the game at all? Because a buddy of mine was pointing out that who's a huge footy fan. Mm-hmm. He's like, if you're looking at this as much of a bird's eye angle as you can get, he's like, just watch the patterns. That's what marks a great team. And you watch it, and it really does. It looks like math happening on the field, and arcs and lines, and there's so much. It's so like, it wasn't until he did that. Are you finding that with FIFA? You're finding as far as like the understanding the details of it.
I don't understand that detail enough. I understand that they try to set up an attack and they're constantly resetting, and that it's a game of angles.
Yeah,
you find angles of opportunity, and it's amazing the control that they have and how fast they have to run. You know, just like the physical exertion of the sport is really incredible to watch. But I assume I will learn more as I go. But it's just, you know, and in the game, it's like I'm gonna get every great player. I'll go look up the glitch where you can sign people for nothing, and then I'll get every great player transferred onto my team.
There's a glitch.
Yeah, there's like a thing where you get people for like $300,000 transfer fee, which is not a lot in MLS. Favorite Wordle start. Do you have a go-to every time?
Yeah.
What is it?
Adieu.
Oh yeah, that's a popular one.
You get 4 vowels, and if there's no vowels, you know it's either an O or a Y. Yeah.
I do stare, STARE.
Interesting.
Because it gives me ST and R really common as our
is
A.
That,
and I know if A and E aren't there.
MIAOU is actually a word. Is that like French pronunciation of meow?
Yeah. Meow. It's a cat. That's what a cat says. We've been spelling it wrong all these years. All this years. Please. All this years we are spelling it wrong.
You're between
a rose, heart, and place. All very good. Adieu is one I've heard a lot though, because of all the people try to get a bunch of vowels out of the way.
Well, because also it's I get a lot of good placements. Like usually, if there's an A and an E in it, my next word will be place or great or something where it goes blank blank A blank E. Mm-hmm. And that's my if the A and the E are lit up on the first word, that's my second go-to is A in the middle and an E at the end.
Yeah.
If you could be on any game show, which would you be on? Jeopardy.
Neither of mine are on the air anymore. Remote Control and Beat the Geeks.
Were you ever on?
Which you were on?
I was on.
No, you were. I wasn't on there.
Yeah.
I think I would have won too. I think I could have beaten. I think I would have done pretty well, especially if I got the WWF at the time geek.
Yeah.
I think I could have. I would have. I think I had a shot.
Yeah. I had the Beatles
I was just
geek
on
was
Taboo.
my specialty geek when I was on.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He was fun. Please do an episode where we do a bunch of our fake accents. I don't like to think of them as fake accents, Emily. I like to think of them as authentic, researched. I've told the accent story about Manolo before. Mm-hmm. You've heard this story, I'm sure, Hal. I don't know how many of y'all have heard this. Hal played Manolo on, who is Brazilian.
Yes.
On Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
And Chris was asked. We were both recording at the time, having sessions around the same times, and he was like, "Hey, work on this. Work on this Brazilian voice. I'm gonna tell Hal the same thing, and you guys work on a Brazilian accent for this character Manolo." And we both went home and worked on Brazilian accents. And I came in the next day. I recorded it was like Rocco or some of the other characters' bits. And then he was like, "Okay, let's try that Brazilian guy." I was like, "Great," and he gave me a line to read, and I did my take on it. And on the other side of the glass, I see Chris go. And I'm like, "That was hilarious take then. I did a great job." And he goes, "Man, that was terrible. I'm going to have Hal do it." That was the Manolo moment for
So
that.
good.
Yeah. Wrench fight in the parable of the Jordan almonds.
I don't remember. Wrench Fight, I think, was just a bit with
Wrench
Paul F.
fight. Yeah,
Tompkins.
that was
Yeah,
just
that was just
us
Wrench
yelling.
Fight. I don't remember the parable of Jordan almonds. I know I hate them, and like you expect them to be good, but they're even the almond is soft inside. Like it's a failure on every level of a food, of like what a food should be. You look at it and you have an expectation of what you want it to be, and it's not an unreasonable expectation.
Is it because you expect there to be a chocolate layer?
Well, it is sort of fooling you on that end, but at least you're like, oh, that candy shell looks good. The candy shell's horrible. Well, there's probably something a little good underneath it between that and the almond. There isn't. Then, at least it's an almond. Almonds are good for you. There's like a little protein in there. The almond is terrible. Like the almond's been soaked in dishwater.
I don't think
And
I've
then
ever
they
actually
wrap it up.
bought. I don't think I've ever bought Jordan almonds and like
Nobody
eaten them
buys
from
them.
a package. I think I've only eaten them from a bowl with a spoon as you're exiting a restaurant or a fancy hotel.
If they put Jordan almonds in that bowl, they hate you. Those should be mint lentils. That's one. That's the most acceptable. And then the other are like the powdery mints. Those are good too. I forget what they're called. I've had both of them in my house, like bought them, but Jordan almond, nobody buys them. That's the thing, is they just show up in your home.
All right.
Unannounced, like a vampire that like somebody else must have given this thing permission to be in here, because I know it wasn't me.
Can you combine, Leslie asks, hey, Mark, can you combine barbecue and Italian food? I would argue that there are a lot of Italian vehicles for food that can be used with barbecue ingredients and flavors.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've had a lot of ground beef, etc. lasagnas. I've never had a pulled pork lasagna before. That could be something cool, right?
Would you want that though?
No, I wouldn't use pasta noodles though. What would you replace the pasta noodles with if you were doing a
potato
pulled pork?
chips? Either that or you.
I think there's a way to do. No, there's a way to do. There's a way to do Italian delivery methods with barbecue flavors. I don't know. Hang on. I don't know that the flavors go together.
This is what you do. This is how you make your noodles.
Okay.
You take hamburger buns and you crush them. You crush them up into like a powder, and you use that as a base for the flour, so that you can make a pasta out of it, but it's made with hamburger buns. So the hamburger bun, you just ground it really fine. You can put it in a food processor, mortar and pestle if you have 18 hours to do it. And you basically build a pasta dough. You do that. You make the well. You put the egg in. You mix it in, and you make a pasta, but it is made of hamburger buns.
Leslie, don't do that, please.
That's how. But I mean, that's how you would do it instead of noodles. But if you go to a place, honestly, if you went to a barbecue place, they would be like, here's what we do. We put our finest shredded brisket at the bottom. We cover that with our Kansas City barbecue sauce. Then we do a layer of thick cut bacon. Then
we top it with Parmesan cheese and some basil pesto sauce.
Yeah.
All topped with mozzarella.
And 6-gun Texas queso throughout.
You know what? I don't hate Cincinnati chili, which is arguably Tex-Mex meets Italian. You know what I mean?
Oh,
they pour it over spaghetti.
Where it's like sweet with the beans and they serve it with spaghetti. Guess what? And can I address just the city of Cincinnati for a second?
Yeah, they're here.
Great. I love your city. It's a beautiful city. There are a lot of wonderful things in Cincinnati. That chili's got to stop. That's not a point of pride.
Disagree.
It's real bad. It's
hard
real
disagree.
Bad. No,
hard
it's
disagree.
Real bad.
Cincinnati, you keep doing exactly what you were
doing. Not enough flavor.
Yours chili. What do you mean not enough flavor? It's chili flavor plus an extra flavor. It's got the extra little dash of cinnamon flavor.
No, it's a little dash of cinnamon. Something has gone wrong.
Do you watch any of the International Taskmasters? Yes, I've seen Taskmasters.
I never have.
I mean, the British version. So is that international? That's international.
It is for us.
It is for us. Yes, I've seen Taskmasters. And Cincinnati chili is just fine, Cincinnati. You do you. Philly eats Scrapple.
It's not
Philly
good.
eats Scrapple. What do they know?
Look, Scrapple's dumb as hell. Let me speak to Philadelphia. Stop it. We have plenty
all
of
right.
good
Well,
food that's
let me
bad for you
speak
on
to
its
all of the South.
own.
All of the South. Do you have a few
Ew,
minutes,
Joe?
Joe? Can you just pour barbecue sauce on spaghetti?
No.
Depends. It
Well,
depends if you have taken your PSAT yet. If you're of an age younger than taking your PSAT, which I believe is 14 and under, you're allowed to experiment with barbecue sauce on spaghetti. That seems reasonable, right?
I mean, if you're gonna put cinnamon and chili, there are no rules. Put,
Oh,
you know what?
don't
Get a
you
vat of
get
barbecue
sour
sauce and
about
put some. You throw some rotini in there, and let it rip.
You know what? Now I want to make. Now I want. This is now what I feel like I'm gonna have to have
Yeah.
for dinner. You know what? And if you want to make a bolognese out about it, or make a bolognese out of it, don't go to Bologna for the bolognese. Go to Amarillo, Texas for the Amarillanaise, and that means you're just gonna have some beef brisket on top of that. And yeah, you can't. Oh, you know what? Barbecue pizza.
You can barbecue a pizza. No, barbecue it, not put sauce on it. Like make it in a barbecue. You can.
Oh, that's true.
You have to have the right
You can
stuff to
cook
put
it
on
on a
there.
barbecue, but also, I guess the only real like popular version of Italian barbecue combo I can now be reminded of by Owen is the I think originally Wolfgang Puck, now California Pizza Kitchen barbecue chicken pizza.
So something created by a not an Italian guy.
Yeah, by an Austrian or German or where's
Yeah, he's
he from?
Austrian, I think.
Did you see that movie about him?
No.
There's a doc on him on Disney Plus, and it is fascinating, that guy's story.
He was the first person I would regularly do an impression of when I saw him on TV. When I was a kid.
That's amazing.
I don't know, 11, 12. I saw him, I
Best-
was like, oh, what you got to do is put the spaghetti over there, and then you put the chili on top. Like
I'm picturing you just
that's what it
sitting
sounded
still
like to me.
facing the TV saying that stuff.
That's what I would do with my mother in the room and make her. I would do it to make her laugh.
Best food fusion surely to come. I'm all in for that. I always wonder though when I see a restaurant that just says California fusion. I'm like, fusion implies two things being connected together.
Yeah, they put avocado.
California
on it.
what? Yeah, it's just any food at all with avocados on it.
Uh-huh.
I think we have time for one more question. Do we have one more question out there from the appellate judges of the people of the world?
Maybe
All right,
not. You want to give me a rank?
Give me three
in
more
the meantime?
numbers.
All right, just pick random dealer's
All right,
choice.
here we go. I'm just drawing three. Arrogance,
Uh-huh.
cannibalism,
Uh-huh.
and a moist towelette.
Moist towelette number 1.
100%.
We don't have enough of them in the world.
Yeah.
I would like one that is a reusable, where you use it, you take it home, you
Yeah.
put it in like the vibrating jewelry cleaner,
Yeah.
and then you get a fresh moist towelette, so you don't have to, because it creates a lot of waste. So
Why
I
would you
love
put it in a
exclusive
jewelry cleaner and not just wash it?
shakes it it shakes the dirt out of it, but then it adds back in. It would go through a process where it gets added back in the moist part,
Oh, okay. I'm
the
on board.
moistness.
All right.
And then
Arrogance and cannibalism. I mean, cannibalism
arrogance
has to be in
second.
third place. Yeah.
Cannibalism third
Are you
thing.
ready?
By the way, yeah. And then I have one more thing to tell everybody about. But,
are we making any announcement today?
it's not an announcement
about that big thing.
Yeah. I want to make an announcement of that big thing.
No, don't tell people about. We're
How
not
dare
ready
you.
for that yet. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Man buns, sat nav, and Baby Yoda. Sat nav being satellite navigation, I assume.
Yeah. Sat nav number 1.
Baby Yoda number 2.
Baby Yoda number 2.
Man buns number 3.
His name is Grogu. I don't think he appreciates being called Baby Yoda. He's his own whatever they are. And then man buns number 3.
That's
No
fair.
problem with man buns. That's
You know
do
what?
you.
Like the most famous version of your species, and then you being called baby version of that. Like I wouldn't mind being called Baby Taylor Swift.
That's true. But at a certain point, you'd want to be Mark.
That's true. At a certain point. But
Now-
I think I kind of want to always be Baby Taylor Swift.
No more hot winning events.
No
What
more
I
hot
wanted
wing
to
events. Hal went to the hospital last time.
what I want to talk to everybody about is our friend Stacy at Maximum Fun reached out to I think all the hosts recently to say, hey, if you have merch ideas for the holidays, let us know. So I put out a post on the in the Facebook group, and a lot of people have responded. Please keep responding. And what we're looking for is things that you will actually buy and want. Because a lot of times we just come up with, oh, this is a pretty good idea, or somebody gives us one idea. But the more people we can get to answer that, the more we have an idea of what is possible. I don't know if every merch idea is going to make it in there, but we want to do more and make things available that you'll actually buy and want to have. Something that's useful, something that you would enjoy looking at, whatever that is. So, yeah, put it in the comments of the Facebook group. I believe it's a pinned comment in the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/we got this podcast. And yeah, that's it.
Shelly will always buy mugs. Groovy. More mugs it is. I love all this. Thank you to everybody for coming and joining us today. This is always a blast. It's always great to hear from everybody and hear what's on your minds, and just check in and see what's up. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to Ken Plume, who is monitoring closely,
Yes.
and putting all of the comments up on the screen, and also just producing the show for so many years and being amazing at that, and wonderful, and we love him. And yeah, so follow him. Ken also has his Patreon and his multiple podcasts, so check those out. Yeah, and thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. Don't worry, everybody.
We got this.